Hello, welcome to I'm Ed's son. I hope you're all well. So, hey, listen, we've got a few games. Well, we've got a few hours until the first game under Nuno Espirito Santo for West Ham. What are we expecting? What are we expecting from him? Can he get a win? Can he sort of get this band of misfits together? Can he get a win away at Everton? If you saw my sort of show yesterday, video yesterday, I was talking about, you know what, I was actually really impressed with the words that he used in his interview with West Ham. But let's face it, they're just words. They are just words. So I'm not convinced, and I still stand by this, I'm not convinced that we have the players to even get real success out of the way Nuno Espirito Santo wants to play. We've all heard, I'm sure you've heard of so many channels and so many opinions about it's going to be a defensive style, counter-attacking style. We know what he is. We know what kind of football it is. But sometimes counter-attacking football can be really exciting as well. But you have a lot of possession against you. The other team will have possession. You're playing that sort of defensive posture, which we haven't been good at. So he's got to be able to go in there within a couple of days and completely change the way we think, the way our mentality is to approach the game, tactical setup, the way we're defending in terms of being narrow, being compact, closing down, making it really difficult. So all the things that he was saying in terms of we've got to build on from where we've got to know where we are, build on from that, we've got to make it hell for the opponents. That all tells me that we're going for a really defensive setup to be really hard to beat. First game away, be really hard to beat against Everton. But I don't think, this is not going to be entertaining football. This is not going to be something that we think, wow, this is something really to get our teeth in. But I think it could be successful given time, and then certainly given that he can get his own players in or call back players from loan deals, that kind of thing. If he can inject youth into the squad as well, and if he can do all this, then we've got a chance. We've got a chance of pulling away from the bottom of the table. But I suppose the question I'm asking anybody, if anybody wants to listen, I'm asking myself, actually. I'm not asking anybody else. I'm just asking myself, can he get a win tonight? Because let's face it, Everton are going to be up for this as well. David Moyes is going to be up for it. He knows what our defensive frailties are. He knows where we're all, let's say, all he has to tell his players is really just put so much pressure on them, get corners in, put crosses in, and they will be under pressure, regardless who's in goal, regardless of what kind of setup they are. They haven't formed themselves into a proper unit, and he's going to be absolutely right. So this is the biggest challenge for Nuno Espirito Santo, to get our players to start playing as a cohesive unit straight away, and with a good defensive setup and mentality in this game. Is it enough? I'm not sure it is enough. You also got to ask the question and say, well, who is he going to choose? What is their role going to be in the team? Much talk has been made of Jarrod Bowen. Should he be our captain anymore? Look, again, if you watch my videos and live shows since I started making more videos on West Ham, I've always said that Jarrod Bowen is not a captain. There's, his position, more than anything, his position out on the wing is not a captain's position. A captain's position, for me, and I'm sure many people agree, and possibly you do as well, many people agree that you need somebody in the spine of the team who is a defender, preferably a central defender, preferably a central midfielder. That's who you want. You want a general right in the centre of the pitch who can affect everybody on the pitch. You can bark orders and get people. You need a loud voice. Jarrod Bowen, lovely lad, I'm sure. Top player, of course. But he should be focusing on just getting the ball, making runs, getting crosses in, getting the ball in the back and cutting in on his left-hand side and getting the ball in the back of the net. That's what he should be focusing on. I just don't think he should be focusing. Whilst it's an honour to be captain of West Ham, that's not what his focus should be right now. And I just wonder if Nuno Espirito Santo is going to make sort of changes. The only problem is, who would you put in there as captain? Or is there such a big thing for captain? Right now, I don't think he really needs a captain's role. You just need a whole group change to everybody to become a leader, everybody to get responsibility on the pitch. So you kind of wonder, well, what changes is he going to make? I mean, look, when he was at Wolves and Max Kilman was underneath him, Max Kilman was captain, I believe, as well. So does that mean you're going to make Max Kilman captain? Not on his performances. For me, I wouldn't even start him. But I wouldn't be surprised if he starts. I wouldn't be surprised if Mavropana starts. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes three central defenders and two wing backs. I wouldn't be surprised if he's starting five at the back. I wouldn't be surprised if he, floods the midfield with defensive midfielders as well. Right now, because I just don't know. I don't know what he's going to start with. We're all sort of grabbing at straws. Well, what about if he does this? What about if he does that? I think there's a place in the team for Füllkrug. They're playing, or if Nuno plays him right. And I said this the other day, if you're playing him up as a lone striker where he's just going to get into the box, or he's just going to hold up play and just spread it out to the wing straight away, and if he's going to get into the box, wait for those crosses to come in and just be a menace and get his head on the end of it or get his foot on the end of a cross or whatever, and start trying to direct it goalward. And let's see if a few go in. If he can do that, then he'll be the right person for the job, right striker that we've got. Wilson, I don't think, is that player. Callum Marshall, as I've said before, I think he should be given a shot. But I also think a lot of the youth should be given a shot, especially if you've got players in positions that are just not performing. This is going to be, for me, a really big test for the players. Not against Everton, not against, not for the fan base, not for the club. This is going to be a real test to show Nuno Espirito Santo what they've got. And I don't think it's up to Nuno right now to convince us if his strategy is going to work. I think it's that's going to come with time. I know what kind of football it's going to be. This will only work. This will only be appeased. This will only be accepted if we get results, positive results on a consistent basis. But if we don't, then it will be the same old, same old. This is boring. This is crap. This is, too defensive. We're not effective enough. And part of the problem is we don't have the players. We don't have the quality there. And I'll say this until I'm blue in the face, we don't have the players right now to make Nuno's tactical plan a success. In the grand scheme of things. Certainly not straight away. Now, of course, and we can all be surprised. We're going to be shocked in what he can do. But at the same time, it's going to be a tough. I think it's going to be a bit of a tough watch actually this game tonight. I think probably it's going to be scrappy. I think there's going to be a lot of players who are going to be nervous, making a lot of mistakes. The thing is, as I said yesterday, I'm really positive about what he said, but they're just words. I like that he's got an attitude. He goes in, he wants to get us to fight. He wants the players to fight. He wants everybody to just be accountable for what they are. That's the kind of impression that I'm getting. I want him to go out there and say, look, none of you are going to be hiding on the pitch here. None of you are going to be, pulling a fast one out there. Everybody's going to be working and working hard because we have to give our opponents hell, make it a hellish time for them to play against us. This is all great. It all sounds great. But will the players adopt it? Will the players sort of come on board with him and say, hey, look, we're right with you, Gaffer. We're 100% with you. I'm just not sure. That's the truth of it. But if you're asking me, am I pleased that I'm going to be seeing this kind of football? I am willing to accept it. I know this is going to sound really kind of, flippant really, but I'm willing to accept it in the short term if it gets us results. The problem is if it gets us results, then that will be what we're always going to accept. I wonder how long Nuno is going to be in post. I wonder. He's got a 3-year deal. Is it going to be that? Are we going to be looking at somebody else in the future to bring us that attacking style of football? Now, the question here is, Do you trust the board to make the right decision in the future? I don't believe that. I believe that the board, again, have made the wrong decision in bringing in Nuno Espirito Santo, not because of his style of play or whatever. It's about appointing the wrong kind of manager for the wrong kind of style of football that we want to see at West Ham. So, so that's it. That's it. What's with the red nose? I think it's to do with the colouring of the camera. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? But I mean, that's it. So they've employed a manager who's going to bring a certain style of football, and that's going to be for the next 2 or 3 years, unless things go totally against them. Then we're going to have to start again. But it's down to the board now to be thinking ahead, and they're not going to do it, right? They should be thinking ahead, right? So we're going to try and get results. We're trying to get better and better, but we've got to head towards attractive football. That's what we want. So they should be doing this right now and looking for managers in the future to say, come on, in a couple of years, this is what we want to end up with. But that's the problem. We've never had a board like that. So this is why it's doomed to fail anyway. Therefore, this whole management of the club, the ownership of the club has got to change. That's the thing. They've got to change. They've got to change. They've got to get out. They've got to, we need new owners in who are, football people, but who understand what the makeup of the club is, what we want and what we want to achieve. And it doesn't mean that we just want to see exciting attacking football, but also have players who want to fight. And I think that's the one tick that Nuno Espirito Santo will bring. It is that he will bring the fight. We hope so. But you just wonder if it's going to work. I don't know. Paul and Michelle. So I'm actually looking forward to tonight and hopefully see the team play with the weight lifted from their shoulders. Well, I agree. I agree with that. It's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for the players to say, look, this is what I'm on about. And we'll just have to see if we can see immediately if they're maintaining their defensive shape, if they can play with some kind of discipline. And also, if we can see that on the counter, because we're only going to see it on the counter attack, right? We see on the counter attack whether they'll be expressive enough and really want to go forward, or we're going to see this crappy bloody possession-based football where we're just going to up one right side, back again, back to the keeper, around the houses again, and up the left and back again. No, we don't want to see that. If we're coming out of defence, we want to go on the attack. But do we have the players to bring it from defence into midfield, quick thinking, quick feet, out to the wings, let's say, and then and straight across balls into the box? I don't think with Füllkrug and Wilson, we don't have real quick, pacey strikers to be able to have balls that are pass through the lines, pass through the channels. Therefore, they're going to run onto the ball and just be on the half turn all the time on the last defender. Callum Marshall might be that guy, but Füllkrug and Wilson are not those guys. So there's only one way to play. It's either Füllkrug or Wilson there, but Füllkrug for me, he's going to be the anchor. He's going to go there to hold the ball up, as if it's going to be played out of defence or certainly from midfield into Füllkrug, and then quickly lash it out to the wings, left or right. Therefore, you're going to get some crosses into the box, or Bowen or Somerville running on goal themselves. But that's the only way I can see it happening. I can't see anything else. But Everton are going to come at us. They're definitely going to come at us. They're going to put us under pressure, and we got to see how much pressure we can take before we break. And if we break, if we break, what happens then? That's the thing. What happens then? We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm looking forward to the game and tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing how we set up tactically. What kind of performance can we deliver? Are we looking at another disaster? Are we looking at a big rebound here? Which players are going to feature? What's their performance going to be like? There's so many questions. So, hopeful. But I'm under no illusions here that it's not going to be. I'm hoping that it's going to be an improvement of what we've seen from Moyes, from Lopetegui, from Potter, of course. I want to definitely see an improvement of what we've had under Lopetegui and Potter. I don't want to see this possession for possession's sake style of football. I want to see end product. I want to see players expressing themselves. I want to see us going forward. Whether it's just on the counter-attack, I will accept that. But, I will take great joy in seeing a great defensive display, that they can't break us down, that we're clearing everything, that they can't get into a box. But from that point, we've got to launch onto the attack. If we're just clearing our lines and we're giving away possession straight away, that for me is just backs to the wall defending. That has no end product. So I'm not expecting it in this game, but what I am expecting the next few weeks, that he comes up with a strategy so that we are able to clear our lines and get into an attacking shape straight away. But the question is, and the question you got to ask yourself, do we have the players to do that? I think they're going to take a lot of coaching. I don't think we've got the pace in there. And unless the players that we've got or haven't featured so far suddenly can show that, suddenly display that. Guillem on the left, Somerville on the left, Bowen on the right. If Wan-Bissaka comes through, he's probably a better attacking option than Kyle Walker-Peters, although I do like Kyle Walker-Peters for a defensive setup as well. In the centre of park, Paqueta. Are we going to put a lot of emphasis on Fernandes, or are we going to put a lot of emphasis on Magassa, or should we have others in there? Should we have the under-21s coming in, Fearon coming in, Potts? Should Potts feature? All these questions that we're going to be asking, really. In terms of the youth, you've got to hope that he's the kind of manager who will have the youth on the bench on a regular basis and say, you're going to get minutes. You're definitely going to get minutes at the end of each game. But as we know, all best intentions can be scuppered as soon as you come under pressure with results. And if he's not winning games, or if we're not in a winning position, then to put on a youth player, under 21 player, when we're losing, it's a big call. It's a big call. He's got to have mighty big stones to make that call, and I just can't see it. I just can't see it happening. Let us know your thoughts out there. But listen, how many hours away are we now? I'm counting down the hours. Just under 6 hours to go to the game tonight at Everton. That he's going to be making changes. We know that James Ward-Prowse isn't even on the coach, was he? So that I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in January. If what he said in his interview is right, and we can believe in that, and we can take faith in that, or we can take a bit of joy in what he was saying, right, and take the positivity out of it, then the next thing he's done right, in many people's eyes, is say, well, if you want to play this kind of way, you've got to not play James Ward-Prowse. And he's showing that, hey, I know what I'm doing, and yes, all you fans were absolutely right, and I'm going to show you what to do. David, hello. Nuno has the under-21 coaches with him today. They've been brilliant lately, so pretty hopeful for big changes tonight. And let's hope so. That they're whispering in his ear a little bit and say, look, these under-21s are really good. We need to show what's what. Paul, you play a 4-4-1-1 with Somerville, Magassa, Fernandes, Bowen in midfield, supported Paqueta in full group up top. I mean, it'd be. I tell you what, it's just going to be so interesting to see how he shapes up. Yeah. We're basically 4-4-1-1. Okay, 4-4-2 really. Okay. I've got a feeling he's going to play either be a 4-5-1 or he's going to be he's going to be 5 at the back and 4 in the middle and one up top. I said so 5-4-1. I think that's what he's going to be, something like that. Because I think he's going to be defence first and then protect the back line, the defence with a flooded midfield as well. I think that's what it is. But the problem is if he does that, then we're going to have a little going forward, little opportunity to go forward. I think that's what it is really. I'm sitting on the fence. There's no doubt about it. I'm sitting on the fence. I'm kind of wondering how is he going to do it? How is he going to get a performance out of these lads who just haven't shown it all year? In fact, they haven't shown it last year either. But how is he going to do it? And yeah, you always expect that new manager bump, for players to respond and everything. But it's that consistency of response. Are they going to do it week in, week out? We can only go from game to game. We can only see what Nuno can do with this bunch of players, only within a couple of days preparation. It's all about mind games really at this stage. He's not going to be coaching them all that much. He's basically going to give them instructions, say this is what you're going to do, this is how we're going to do it. You're going to play compact. You're going to be man for man marking. You're going to be watching him for the runners. You're going to be looking out for anybody who's unmarked. You've got to go and mark them. All that kind of stuff. You've got to press as soon as you can. Press high, well not high up, but press the opposition as soon as they come break into our half. Certainly coming into the 18-yard box, as towards the 18-yard box, you've got to press them so they don't get the crosses in. If they do get the crosses in, we've got to make sure we're first to the ball. And then the keeper's got to be strong as well. I'm expecting Ariota to start here. I don't think Hermansen's the man for the job. I think he would see that as well, being an ex-keeper, that he's not commanding his area. It's just up for until we got data on Nuno at West Ham. I know we got data on him in terms of Nottingham Forest and Wolves especially, but we haven't got data on him at West Ham with the players that we've got. And that's the thing. Do we have the players? I'm not so sure that we do. I'm not so sure that he's going to have faith in the players that we've got. Even the likes of Max Gilman, who's been under him, I would be looking at Max Gilman thinking, what happened to you? What the fuck happened to you? You used to be really good when you were at Wolves with me. What happened to you? So I think there's going to be a lot of psychology here. There's going to be a lot of talking to players on an individual basis and saying, what the hell have you been doing? I remember when Moyes came in for the first time after Bilic was sacked, and basically said, look, none of you are running. You're not running. You've got to start running around. So it's going to be that kind of thing. It's black and white kind of straight talk. I think he's going to have with these players. Now, whether he's had it all right, I don't know. Whether he's had anything with them, I really don't know. But yeah. But, look, are you expecting a win? Can he get a win? I'm not sure. I think it's going to be. I've got a feeling it's going to be a scrappy game. I don't think we're going to go up there and get a win. I think the best we're going to get is a draw. Because I haven't really even thought about Everton really, if they're going to be much of a success against us, or if they're going to have success against us. They've had a couple of dodgy results recently in the cup and in the league as well. So they're going to come fighting. They're going to come fighting, and it's whether this new look West Ham under Nuno can withstand what Everton have to offer. Not sure is the answer. Really not sure. Yeah, probably a score draw tonight. I think I'm leaning that way. 1-1. I think I'm going 1-1 as a draw. I just don't. Okay, that's all I'm hopeful for. So realistically, that's all I'm expecting, I should say. I'm hopeful for more, of course I am, but I got a feeling it's a draw. Just don't think we've got anything. David saw a lot of Everton fan channels fancied it with Potter in charge. Now Nuno is a lot of Everton fans really don't feel too confident now. Well, that's interesting. Well, I mean, the thing is, would you say that Nuno is better for West Ham than Graham Potter? And on paper, because we haven't seen him yet, right? On paper, you would say absolutely right, because you can only go on what he's done at Forest and what he's done at Wolves, right? And I'm going to discount what he did at Spurs, because I just don't. Well, he just didn't have enough time to prove whatever he wanted to do. A lot of Spurs fans didn't like him. A lot of Spurs fans did like him. It really depends which way you want to go, right? But is he better than Potter? Well, I would say yes, he definitely is. But now he's got to prove it. It's just like getting a new player in to replace another player and say, well, this player's going to be better for us. Well, we don't know until he actually starts playing, right? So let's just see. Let's just see with Nuno what is it? I think we can all guess what his tactical setup is going to be. Defensive first. He's already told us, let's face it. He's already told us we're a shit show of a team, shit show of a club. We need to basically start back to basics, build on a strong defensive setup, make ourselves hard to beat, win ugly if we have to, get in there with some tackles, get in there with a bit of aggression, and make sure that it's uncomfortable for anybody to play us. Okay, that does not tell you, if that doesn't tell you that we're not going to see attractive football, then I don't know what is. But it could be successful. It could be successful in turning this club around. Do I see us getting into, top 7, top 8 this season? No, of course I don't. I think we'd be lucky to get into the top half of the league. That's if we're successful under Nuno. And when I say successful, it's we're getting results more consistent, more often than not, positive results, either wins or draws. And we're not getting spanked too often. But, tough game to start against Everton. Another really tough game against Arsenal. And then we've got the Brentford game at home. I've said in a couple of videos ago, I said, really, the Brentford game is the one for me that we've got to see something. It's almost like he's getting 2 free hits here with, well, not so much Arsenal, but definitely with the Everton game. And now it's up to him and the players to pull together. I would like to see Nuno Espirito Santo with the group of players and say to them, I hope, they say, look, you haven't been performing for lots of different reasons. You get one shot here to impress the hell out of me and to stake your claim in this first team. If you don't, you're onto the subs bench or you're back into the squad. I'm going to try others. And they'll be given the same message. You're given one shot to prove yourselves. And if you can't do it, that's it. You're out. So then he can just put a rod at their arse and say, not messing around here. Nobody is guaranteed a starting position. Get in there and show me what you got. And that's it. Get in there, show us what you got. Let's deliver something to the fans. Let's make sure that we can, raise our performances, get results, get into scoring positions, not be pushovers in defence. Let's see how we go. Paul, your average position since being in the Prem is 12th. I'll be pretty happy with that this season. Well, I think most of us would. Well, when I say happy, I'm not happy, but I would say it's a good place to finish, especially after the start that we've had and after the group of players that we've assembled within the squad. I would say it's a reasonable play. It's not great. It's not great. That's a David Sullivan position. To say, yeah, mid-table, that's okay. Mid-table obscurity. That kind of reminds me of Charlton years ago when they used to be in the top flight and Curbs, right? So Curbs would take them, and they'd always start the season really well, and everybody would think, hello, Charlton, doing all right, getting some results here. What's going on? Then you get to a certain level where you know they'd almost be safe, and then just performances which just fall off the edge of a cliff. So, similar kind of thing here. That's our poor owners have never had the ambition just to push us on a little bit more, not make us a selling club, make us a building club. And this is why, you know, you've always got to look at the owners. You've always got to look at any business. You've always got to look at who's in charge and what is their direction that they're giving everybody in the company, in the business. What is the direction? Where is the leadership there? Are they good leaders, bad leaders? You know, and so now for me, they've always been bad leaders. They've been bad people at times. And this is not just Sullivan. This is not just Brady. This is all of the board, all of them. I want all of them out. Get rid of them all out. I want a cooperative or just a single owner to come in and say, we're taking over. Lock, stock, barrel, we're taking over. And this is going to be a properly run football club from now on. Focus on the fans, focus on the team, focus on, bringing, the kind of football that the fans want to see and, aiming to reach the stars, aiming for the stars. Doesn't mean we have to get there, just aim for the stars. For 15 years, we've never had owners like that. And you could say our history as a club is littered with owners like this, right? But in terms of the here and now, 15 years, and it's, they are an embarrassment to the club. They're an embarrassment to football, how you should run a football club in terms of the structure. How can you have a football club? There's no structure there. It's a crime, really. So Nuno coming into that, I would question, this is the question I would have for Nuno Espirito Santo. So knowing what you know about the club structure and what's going on at the club, why would you even want to come to us? Why? How much are they paying you a year? And is it worth it? Is it worth it? Because you could have gone somewhere else. If I was Nuno Espirito Santo, I would have probably given it another 2 or 3 weeks to see if Man United needed a manager, because they probably, they probably would have snapped his hand off to say, yeah, we'll have you. I'm not saying that they're any better than us, because they're a basket case of a club right now as well. But so you kind of ask yourself, well, if you're going to get a couple of million a year from West Ham, you're going to get 3 or 4 or 5 million a year from Man United. You're going to go for them, aren't you, really? But, so there's lots of problems. I wonder if he's coming in here to say, look, I don't expect this to last forever. No manager should go into a job thinking this is going to last forever. But he's going to bring us an identity, and the identity is to be hard to beat. And, counter-attacking football. And that's what his style is. And it's to say, we're going to bring us success based upon that. I don't believe that is a long-term solution, a long-term strategy that will bring us ultimate success. Because you need players who are continually going to be playing that and buying into that. And you've got to have the fan base that is completely on board with that. And I think for a short term, we'll probably have the fan base in its entirety happy with that, but not in the long term. I don't think in the short term might have it, but not in the long term. But listen, I could be proven wrong, of course. I usually am. I could be proven wrong. But listen, I've gone on for longer than I actually thought I was going to go. But here we go. So, a few hours to go now. 5.5 hours, whatever it is. Let's see how we do. Let's see how we do. 1-1. Yeah, I'd take a 1-1 draw. Definitely take a 1-1 draw. Obviously, I hope for a win. I'm just so intrigued to see how he's going to set up. Once I've seen it once, then I'll know. Then I'll know whether he's for me or not, or whether this is going to be a frustrating time. But if I can see that we're struggling, that even though he's only had a couple of days, I would still say, I'm right. We don't have the players for it. And then you kind of wonder, is he winning these players over? If we don't see it in the Arsenal game, and certainly if we don't see it in a Brentford game, that in other words, that we're solid at the back, but we can transition into attack flawlessly, quickly, and get into scoring opportunities. If we don't see that relatively straight away, then that means we can't do it. And that means, guess what? It's relegation all the way. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But hey, listen, all we can say is up the hammers. let's go for the win. I'll be happy with the draw. I'll be happy with the draw. Can Nuno get the win? I think he can. Long shot, but I think he can. Right, catch you again on the next video, whenever that is. Cheers now.